What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another video on the channel. Welcome to some Assetto Corsa Evo, and this is a setup tutorial, or pretty much just a little showcase of what my settings look like, because I think I've found like a really good balance on getting to be able to drift in Assetto Corsa Evo on a controller. Now, before people start commenting, just get a wheel, just buy a wheel and play it on a wheel. Yes, I know. I have played this game on a wheel, and I know that this game is supposed to be played on a wheel, and I know that how good it is to actually play Assetto Corsa on a wheel. I have a wheel, I can play with a wheel, but that's not what everybody's setup is going to be looking like. Not everybody's going to be able to afford this game, and then to buy this game, you also need to buy a wheel to be able to play this game. So a lot of people are going to be able to buy the cheaper option, which is a controller, and they still want to have the same amount of fun as everyone else, and I want to be able to try and drift, or want to race and everything like that. So I wanted to try and make this video because in yesterday's video, if you guys have seen it, we ended up getting this new update where they added a bunch of cars into the game, including this Super that you're seeing up on the screen right now, which has a drift angle kit. So this car is very much specifically built in this game already to be able to drift. However, it's very difficult to drift on a controller if you leave your settings as standard. So I wanted to try and go into the settings last night, and I wanted to try and mess around and see what can I possibly change in it to make it as easy as possible for everybody to drift on a controller. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to show you guys the settings. I want to show you guys pretty much what it looks like when I'm sliding around in this thing. Now keep in mind that I'm still not as smooth as I possibly can be, and yes, you can get your settings dialed in even more to make it look like it's less on a controller and more like just like on a wheel. So I'm trying my best to try and find like a balance between the two and make it seem as if the car is very, very smooth to drift around. So this is pretty much what I'm racing with. So automatic gearbox is off. Obviously, I'm going to try and play as like with a manual. Automatic clutch is on as well. Stability control off. Ideal line, I can probably change that and turn that off. So it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So I'm not really going to change anything there. I do want to get rid of the ideal line because that is a bit annoying, especially when I'm trying to drift. Yeah, Supra is there. You can get it. It's the drift tune step, as you can see in the configuration. Yeah, let's go in and I'll show you guys what my controller settings are like on this thing. What it feels like, or looks like even, when I'm trying to slide with this guy. Okay, now that we're on the track, let me show you guys exactly what my setup is looking like here. So the vehicle setup itself, I haven't really changed or done anything. So I'm going to leave everything the way it is, just so I can show you guys how easy this is to slide now. So all you really need to do is go into your settings, go into controls, go into your controllers, pretty much here, and then click and open up settings. The steering settings is pretty much what I have here. This is very much the way this looks. Even when I'm racing, right? So this hasn't really changed when it comes to that. I think the curvature I've changed from either 20 to 10 or 10 to 20. I don't know what it was before when I was racing, but that's pretty much what it looks like. And now if I go into gamepad settings, this is what this looks like here for me. I have steering assist is set to assisted, which when I was racing yesterday, it was in direct mode. Now I have it as assisted. Assisted kind of gets your actual steering wheel in the car, right? The actual car steering wheel to turn slightly in the direction that your car is like facing. You know, it like tries to steer out of the corner for you a little bit. That's what assisted is, right? It doesn't fully do it because you can still spin out instantly, right? So it doesn't fully do it for you, but it gets you started and makes it seem as if like your car is trying to help you. To be honest though, in a real life car, if you have your wheel if you're going sideways into a corner, right? Your steering wheel in your car, if you let go of it, will end up trying to point your wheels in that direction, right? Like it does it in real life anyway. I know it's assisted, right, in the game because you're playing on a controller and it's completely different to playing on a wheel. But I'm just saying to you, like, ideally, if you don't press anything or you don't do anything and you just end up going sideways in a car in real life, your steering wheel is never going to stay fully straight. It'll always try to flick left or right, you know, depending on the car, the way the car is facing, or basically the way the car is traveling, pretty much, if that makes sense to you, right? That's why there's a lot of people, if you've ever seen people drifting, the car will end up changing directions without them even putting too much input in the actual steering itself, right? They'll adjust like tiny little things in the steering wheel when you're sliding, but if you let go fully of the steering wheel in a transition, like you're not fully steering the car in the other direction if you have really good setup in terms of the caster and camber and tow and everything like that with the car itself, right? So this is kind of what this feels like. However, you're playing on a controller, so you don't really have a lot of feel, but this is kind of what it's supposed to simulate. Steering assist on assisted, 100% recommended. This is the one that makes the biggest difference. Speed sensitivity I have set to 75. Steering filter I also have set to 95. Vibrations and rumble effects, these are all just for the basic vibration in the controller, so it doesn't really do too much. But 30 and 30 are fine for me. So that's all I have really changed for that. Now, let's drive it and actually show you guys what it looks like and feels like. So in the interior, this is how quickly you can go from lock to lock if you steer left and right. So obviously it does that. Again, the faster you're driving, the less speedy it'll look when I'm trying to do that, right? So it's not going to fly full lock to full lock very quickly. You can see how much it actually goes up to when I'm at this speed. If I go faster, you can see it won't go full lock to full lock. However, when you're sideways, it actually helps a lot. I do like drifting in HUD view, so I'm going to stay in this view. So all I'm going to do is just pretty much give it some beans. And I'm doing very, very little steering with my controller. And only when I'm trying to fully straighten up, I do some proper big steering. And apart from that, the car itself helps you quite a bit with the way it lets you slide into the corners. And then you just kind of have to power out of it and try and control it on the throttle. It genuinely feels really, really, really good. Initially, like I said, when I was driving this thing, especially with the direct controls, like the direct drive for the steering, or the direct input, I guess, for the steering, you saw how quickly I was slamming into the wall. Because it was very, very difficult. And you don't really want that to happen. So what you want to do is obviously try and be as smooth as you possibly can. So again, do one of those. I went a bit too fast here. This is fully my fault. I should have started as well earlier. I'm also trying to clutch kick as well, because I've been playing a lot of Car X Street. And that one, you have a designated button for your clutch, even if you don't use it 100% of the time. That's the one thing that I really kind of want to try and get into this as well. But you can 100% drift in this game if you're on a controller, just if you were wondering. And again, I haven't done anything to the actual setup of the car itself. So it's even on the supercar tires, as in like it's on much stickier tire. If you bring this down into the road tire compound, I'm assuming you can probably drift even slower cars. You can get some absolutely fat slides, and it doesn't feel too obscure to drive this. It genuinely feels very, very similar to what Gran Turismo's drifting is like. A little bit. And again, if you think that you can't spin out because of the assisted steering, you can 100% still spin out with the assisted steering. So it's not fully on your side. This is what it looks like in the replay. Let me show you. Because obviously that's something that we want to see what this thing looks like. So you can see how quickly you can change direction when you're on a controller. So I'm not like lying and playing with a wheel or anything like that. But you'll be able to see very, very easily how quickly the steering actually takes effect. Like the assisted steering. You'll see it as I'm driving into a corner. How very smoothly it starts turning in, and then you'll see maybe my inputs like here and there. It's never ever going to be as smooth as if you were playing on a wheel. Like that's just never going to happen. So that's what I'm saying to you. Like, obviously try to make it as smooth as you possibly can. And again, if you drive in a very specific way, you can definitely get it to be even smoother. So once it's fully out and fully sideways, and again, even with these tires, it just makes the car a little bit too grippy, but you can see some of my movements when it comes to the steering. Yes, it doesn't look as clean as if you were playing on a wheel, but it's 100% playable. And again, like I said, if you were wondering if you were able to slide or drift on a wheel on a Assetto Corsa Evo, you 100%, or sorry, on a controller, you 100% can drift on a controller on a Assetto Corsa Evo. It's very, very much doable. Again, I'm still new to this, so I'm still trying to practice and trying to get better and better with the way the cars, you know, handle once they're sideways. And I'm trying to make it as smooth as I possibly can on the controller. But this is a very, very good start if you want to try and slide around for yourself. I feel like for racing, I don't really know if I want to recommend assisted steering for the racing. I haven't actually tried it yet properly. I definitely recommend just the standard setup when it comes to racing itself. I feel like it feels very, very nice anyway, already. The speed sensitivity, the way it changes is actually very, very good. So when you're trying to race with it, I think it's really, really nice. So if you've seen yesterday's video, or any videos before, when I was trying to race on a wheel, or on a controller, it definitely is a lot easier on a wheel. I feel like on a wheel you have so much more like direct input than you do on a controller. But again, a lot of people will end up playing this game on a controller due to the fact that it's just a cheaper alternative, you know? Like, not everybody's going to be driving around or buying this game and then immediately buying a wheel setup. Yes, 100%, this is such a much better game on a wheel, and I highly recommend playing this game on a wheel. But like I said, I'm trying to make this video so it's as universal for everybody, because like I said, a lot more people are going to be playing this game on a controller than, you know, having to buy a wheel setup just for this game. So that's what I'm trying to make this video, to try and showcase that. And you can get some fat angle as well with this thing. And again, I haven't really changed any of the car settings itself, so I'm assuming once you change some of those, maybe even put it on some slightly worse tires, it'll be less like skippy, because you can see how quickly it changes direction as well. And that's the one thing that I had a little bit of an issue with as well in yesterday's video when I was trying to drift this thing with the direct input, I guess, in the steering, is how fast it would end up changing direction. So that's pretty much it for the setup of this thing. I hope that this this helps with, like I said, your setup itself. Yeah, try it out. Maybe you can change some more of your settings for yourself. I mean, sometimes, obviously, I'm not 100% correct, but try some more settings for yourself. Bring the steering filter down, bring the speed sensitivity down or up. I've also tried the smart steering, which I don't really know how this feels. I feel like it's, I don't think it was as nice. It just didn't feel as nice, in my opinion. It felt like I was a bit too restricted like this. I can't transition. It just didn't let me transition there. For whatever reason, it just stopped me. Yeah, the smart steering just feels weird. It just feels a tiny bit too... Yeah, it doesn't let me steer as much. Like, I don't have as much angle. So that's why I think assisted steering is just enough. Yeah, smart steering just does not feel right. Because I was trying to play with a lot of these settings last night, and I was changing so much stuff. I mean, you can go sideways and you can slide, but it doesn't let you have as much angle. Yeah, and I can't... and I can't counter steer as much as I feel like I want to as well. So it just feels a little weird like that. But yeah, 100% try and play with assisted steering when it comes to that. And then that setup that I had there as well. That obviously was the cleanest one. Alright, try it out for yourselves. Let me know what you think. Hopefully this helps. But yeah, that's going to be it from me for this video. I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.